Imagine a land where every stone tells a story, where the sun paints the cliffs in gold, and myths are not just told, they are alive. Welcome to Greece, a country where the past and present collide in breathtaking harmony. From the ancient ruins of Athens to the volcanic cliffs of Santorini, from the labyrinths of Crete to the hidden villages of the Peloponnese, this is a journey into the heart of a world shaped by gods, warriors, and dreamers. Hold your breath, open your senses, and step into a story older than time itself. This is Greece, like you've never seen before. Join us as we explore the islands, the history, the culture, and the soul of a land that has captivated humanity for millennia. Every sunset, every alley, every wave carries a secret, and we're about to uncover them all. The camera sweeps across a kaleidoscope of houses stacked on a hillside, their reflections rippling in turquoise water. Describe the first arrival to this colorful Greek beach town. The scent of salt in the air, the hum of waves, and the feeling that time slows here. Set the mood. This is not just another destination, it's a hidden treasure where life itself feels painted by sunlight. There's a place in Greece where the world seems to dissolve into color, where whitewashed walls give way to waves of blue, pink, and ochre, and sunlight paints everything it touches with gold. As the camera drifts over the Aegean, the sea glimmers like 1,000 scattered sapphires, and there, perched along the edge of the water, lies a town so stunning, so dreamlike, that it feels almost unreal. This is where time slows, where every color tells a story and every breeze carries the scent of salt and history. Welcome to Greece's most colorful beach town, a hidden paradise you have to see to believe. The first glimpse hits you like a dream you've been waiting to have. The houses stacked one above the other, like pieces of a watercolor painting, seem to tumble down toward the sea. Each one wears a different hue: lemon yellow, seafoam green, deep coral, faded lavender. Fishermen's boats bob gently along the harbor, their chipped paint echoing the same palette as the village behind them. And above it all, gulls glide through the open sky, as if the air itself were painted with freedom. You step off the boat, and the sound of the world changes. It's quieter here, not silent, but peaceful in a way that cities have long forgotten. The cobblestones beneath your feet are worn smooth by centuries of footsteps. Every corner feels like a secret. The hum of conversation drifts from small cafes where locals sip strong Greek coffee. The smell of grilled octopus mingles with the tang of sea salt and blooming jasmine. You look around, and it's impossible not to smile, because this place doesn't just look beautiful, it feels beautiful. It feels alive. A local fisherman waves as he untangles his nets. His hands are rough, his face carved by years of sun and sea, but his smile is warm and easy. He tells you, "Here, we don't chase time, we let it pass." It's a simple phrase, but it captures the entire spirit of the town. Life here moves at its own rhythm, slow, unhurried, and deeply connected to nature. The waves set the tempo, the wind decides the direction, and the people simply live, not rushing toward tomorrow, but fully present in today. As you wander deeper into the village, the streets twist and turn like the lines of an old song. Balconies overflow with bougainvillea, their petals scattering across the paths like confetti. You pass doors painted in every shade of blue imaginable, some the color of the sky, others like the deep heart of the sea. Cats lounge lazily in the sun, watching you with half-closed eyes as if they, too, are part of the scenery. There's no sense of hurry here, no pressure to move on. You walk because it feels good to walk, to breathe, to exist in a place where beauty isn't curated, it's simply everywhere. The colors tell stories. The faded red house by the harbor once belonged to a sailor who traveled the world. The mint green balcony above the bakery was built by a craftsman who wanted to match the color of his wife's eyes. Every brush stroke, every wall, every window has meaning passed down through generations like whispers of memory. And as you look closer, you realize this isn't a postcard perfect illusion. It's real life. Messy, beautiful, and deeply human. As the afternoon sun climbs higher, the light becomes sharper, more golden. The sea sparkles like liquid glass. The sound of waves echoes through the alleys, bouncing off walls painted with a century's worth of salt and sun. You stop by a taverna, where an old man plays a bouzouki, a stringed instrument that seems to hold both joy and sorrow in its notes. A few locals sit nearby, singing softly, their voices blending with the rhythm of the sea. It's a moment that feels eternal, one of those rare points in life when everything aligns: color, sound, light, emotion, and you realize that this, right here, is what people mean when they talk about magic. Then, as the sun begins its descent, the town transforms again. The colors deepen, glowing under the orange-pink sky. Lanterns flicker to life, one by one, casting ripples of light across the water. The air cools, and laughter drifts from the harbor. Somewhere, a child runs along the dock, his reflection dancing beside him. The world feels suspended between day and night, between reality and a dream you don't want to wake from. And as darkness settles, you understand something: this place isn't about sights or checklists. It's about feeling, about presence, about standing still long enough for beauty to find you. Greece's most colorful beach town isn't just a destination, it's a reminder that the world still holds pockets of wonder untouched by time. That color still has the power to heal. And that sometimes the most extraordinary places aren't the ones we plan to find. They're the ones that quietly find us. Because here, at the edge of the Aegean, surrounded by color and sea, you don't just see beauty, you become part of it. Walk the narrow alleys bursting with pink bougainvillea, blue doors, and yellow-washed walls. The sound of footsteps on old cobblestones blends with laughter and distant music. Each corner reveals a new story: fishermen mending nets, children chasing each other between cafes, and artists sketching under the shade. Bring viewers deep into the daily rhythm of this town's life. The sun rises over the Aegean, and the town awakens slowly, as if reluctant to let go of its dreams. The first light touches the sea, turning it into a mirror of gold and rose. Fishermen already move along the docks, their boats rocking gently as they pull in the morning catch. The air smells of salt and promise. It's early, quiet, peaceful, but the streets are beginning to stir. From balconies painted in turquoise and white, women water hanging pots of flowers. Somewhere, a radio hums a soft Greek tune, blending with the rhythmic clink of coffee cups in the harbor cafes. As you step outside, the world feels freshly painted. The colors are softer in the morning: light, pale blues, pastel pinks, fading yellows, all glowing with a calm you can almost touch. A man walks past carrying a basket of bread from the bakery, its warmth leaving trails of steam in the cool air. A cat winds around your legs, purring like a small engine. The town feels alive, but in a quiet, gentle way, as if it's waking not for work, but for life itself. The narrow alleys twist between the houses, leading you deeper into the heart of the village. Every turn reveals something unexpected: a doorway framed with seashells, a hand-painted mural of the sea, a staircase disappearing into a burst of bougainvillea. The walls are close enough to touch on both sides, their texture rough from salt and sun. You trail your fingers along the stone as you walk, feeling the centuries embedded in every surface. Here, the past isn't hidden, it breathes beside you, in the cracks, the colors, the laughter echoing from one home to another. A small cafe catches your eye: wooden tables, checkered cloths, the smell of strong Greek coffee. The owner, an older woman with silver hair tied in a scarf, greets you with a warm smile. "Kalimera," she says, setting a cup before you. The coffee is thick and dark, almost syrupy, served with a small glass of cold water. You sip slowly, watching as the town comes fully to life. Children chase each other past the square. The baker delivers loaves to the taverna across the street. Above, laundry flutters between balconies like colorful flags. Every motion feels unhurried. meaningful, a rhythm that's been perfected over generations. You ask the woman about the town, about why it's so colorful, so full of life. She laughs softly and says, "Because we don't like gray. The sea gives us blue. The sun gives us light. We give the world." Linger in the air, as simple and profound as the place itself. In this village, beauty isn't decoration. It's gratitude, a reflection of joy for the world that sustains them. As the morning grows warmer, you wander down to the harbor. Fishermen return with nets full of gleaming silver fish. Children run to greet them, their laughter mixing with the sound of waves slapping against wood. The boats, painted in every shade imaginable, line up like a floating rainbow. One of the men invites you aboard. He points to the hills behind the town and tells you stories of how his grandfather once painted his house bright orange so the family could spot it from the sea, of how storms sometimes wash away the paint, but never the spirit. He says the colors are their compass, a reminder of home even when the waves get rough. By midday, the streets shimmer under the sun. Locals retreat to the shade, sharing long lunches in open courtyards. You join them at a taverna, where the tables spill right onto the beach. Platters of grilled fish, olives, and fresh bread arrive one after another. The flavors are simple, honest, each bite alive with salt, lemon, and love. There's laughter, conversation, and the soft hum of cicadas in the background. It's not just a meal, it's an invitation into their world. The afternoon stretches lazily, golden and endless. The air fills with the scent of flowers and sea breeze. You wander again, camera in hand, but realize after a while that no lens can truly capture it. The way light bounces off pastel walls, the warmth of the people, the feeling of stillness that hums with life. This place isn't made to be photographed. It's meant to be felt. As the day cools, the town begins to shift again. The locals emerge from their siestas, and soft music drifts from open windows. In the square, a small group gathers, musicians tuning their instruments, preparing for the evening. Children play with paper boats at the water's edge. You sit on the dock, feet dangling above the calm sea, and realize that this place has a pulse. You can feel it beneath your skin, slow, steady, and full of heart. When night finally falls, the village glows like a lantern against the sea. The colors you saw in daylight now shimmer in the reflection of the moon. The laughter, the songs, the scent of the ocean, they all blend into something timeless. You understand now that this town doesn't just exist in space, it exists in emotion. It's a feeling of peace, of connection, of being part of something that doesn't rush to impress, but quietly reminds you how beautiful simplicity can be. And as you walk back through the silent alleys, you think of what the woman said that morning. We don't like gray. It wasn't just about paint, it was about life. Here, color isn't on the walls. It's in the people, it's in the sea. And tonight, it's in you too. Shift tone to serenity, old men playing backgammon by the sea, women hanging laundry above pastel balconies. Capture the warmth of the locals and their slow living philosophy. Show how modernity fades away here, replaced by human connection and simplicity. The narrative should remind viewers what we lose in our fast-paced world and what Greece still keeps alive. The midday sun sits high above the Aegean, pouring gold over the terracotta rooftops and sapphire waters. But beneath this postcard perfection lies a deeper pulse, a story whispered through the centuries, carried by the sea breeze and etched into the stones beneath your feet. You can feel it as you wander through the narrow lanes, that sense that this town has lived 1,000 lives, each one leaving behind a trace, a memory, a legend. They say that long before the pastel houses and fishermen's boats, this was a place of gods and heroes. Some locals still point toward the cliffs and swear that the ancient Greeks built temples here, offering gifts to Poseidon for calm seas. The ruins that remain crumbled, columns half swallowed by earth and vines, seem to hum with energy, as if still connected to the divine. You step closer, your hand brushing the cool marble, and imagine the prayers that once filled this space. Sailors begging for safe passage, lovers asking for blessings, villagers giving thanks for the bounty of the sea. A local guide, his face weathered by sun and time, tells you stories passed down through generations. He speaks of a goddess who fell in love with a mortal fisherman, how she painted the sea every evening in colors of longing, how she wept each morning when he sailed away. That, he says, pointing to the vibrant sunset sky, is her memory. She never left. That's why our sunsets burn brighter here than anywhere else. You can't help but smile. In this town, mythology isn't a distant tale. It's alive, woven into the rhythm of daily life, blending seamlessly with faith, tradition, and the simple act of living. The sound of church bells rings from the hill above, breaking the silence. You follow the sound up a steep cobblestone path, where olive trees cast trembling shadows across whitewashed walls. At the top, you find a small church, its blue dome gleaming against the endless sky. Inside, the air is cool and scented with beeswax and incense. Icons flicker in candlelight, their golden faces serene. You stand there for a long time, listening to the echo of your own heartbeat. Faith feels different here, not loud, not forced. It's something quieter, older, and deeply rooted in the landscape itself. As you step outside again, the world seems to stretch endlessly before you, the sea below, the mountains rising behind, and this little town perched between the two like a dream caught between heaven and earth. The guide tells you that people here see the land and the sea as sacred, not just beautiful. Every wave that crashes against the rocks, every olive tree that grows from the soil, is part of something larger. A bond between humans and nature that goes back thousands of years. We don't own this place, he says softly. We belong to it. You walk down to the edge of town, where old stone walls crumble into the cliffs. Here, ancient caves open to the sea, once used as hiding places during pirate raids. The locals tell you stories of treasure buried beneath these rocks, of secret tunnels that lead to forgotten chambers. You step inside one of the caves, the light dim and blue from the water outside. The sound of the waves echoes through the stone, like the breath of something ancient. The air smells of salt and mystery. It's easy to imagine that somewhere in these shadows, the ghosts of the past still wander, sailors, lovers, and dreamers who never truly left. As the afternoon deepens, you find yourself back in the village square. Old men play backgammon under a fig tree, their laughter rising with each roll of the dice. Nearby, a young girl paints shells with bright colors, reds, yellows, blues, and sells them to tourists for a few coins. You ask her why she paints them, and she shrugs with a shy smile. Because the sea gives us white shells, she says. I give them color. That simple answer captures the soul of this place better than any legend. It's a world built on gratitude, on giving back to what nature offers, on adding beauty where it already exists. Later, you visit the local museum, a small stone building filled with relics, clay pots, fragments of ancient mosaics, weathered coins stamped with faces of forgotten kings. Each piece tells a story of resilience. You realize that this town has survived everything. Wars, invasions, storms, yet it remains untouched in spirit. The people never stopped painting, never stopped celebrating, never stopped believing in the power of beauty and myth. As the day fades into twilight, the sky begins its transformation again, the same colors the goddess once painted for her lost love. You stand at the harbor, watching the reflection of pinks and purples shimmer across the calm sea. The fishermen have returned, their boats heavy with the day's catch. Children run to greet them, just as their ancestors must have done centuries ago. The circle continues, as it always has, timeless and unbroken. You think about how easily the modern world forgets how quickly cities lose their stories to noise and speed. But not here. In this little town, history is not something to be studied. It's something to live with. The myths breathe through its walls. The faith hums through its bells. And every sunset feels like a promise that the old world, the real world, still exists if you know where to look. And as the stars begin to appear, scattered like jewels across the velvet sky, you feel it, that quiet magic that only ancient places possess. A sense that time itself slows down to watch the world turn golden one more time. You close your eyes, listen to the waves, and let the whispers of the past wrap around you. Because in this town, in this timeless corner of Greece, the stories never end. They just change their colors. Take viewers beyond the town to hidden coves, accessible only by small boats or winding trails. Paint scenes of crystal clear waters, white cliffs, and untouched sand. This is Greece's quiet magic places, where you feel like the first person to ever arrive. Let the soundscape build here. Seagulls, soft waves, wind through olive trees. The morning light breaks over the horizon, spilling warmth across the shimmering Aegean Sea. The pastel town you explored before now rests quietly behind you, its rooftops glowing like painted memories. Ahead, the coastline stretches endlessly wild, untouched, and magnetic. You set out to follow it, to chase the curve of the earth, where land meets water, and myths still seem to breathe through the salt air. This is where Greece's natural soul lives, not in monuments or ruins, but in the wind that whispers across the cliffs, the rhythm of the tides, and the timeless dance of sunlight on the sea. As your journey begins, the cliffs rise high above you, carved by millennia of storms and waves. They stand like silent sentinels guarding ancient secrets. Below, hidden coves gleam with turquoise water, so clear it seems unreal, as if the gods themselves painted it to remind humanity what paradise looks like. You watch as fishermen glide their small boats into the open sea, their nets glistening in the light. The air smells of salt, time, and something eternal. There's a quiet hum to it all, the sound of life unfolding in its purest form. The road winds upward through olive groves that have stood for centuries, their gnarled trunks twisting like the hands of time itself. Between them, wildflowers bloom in bursts of color, reds, yellows, and blues that sway in the gentle breeze. A shepherd passes by, guiding his flock across the hills. He nods, a simple greeting that feels older than words. You realize that life here hasn't changed much in hundreds of years. Technology may have touched every corner of the world, but in these hills, the connection between man and nature remains unbroken. You stop at a small viewpoint overlooking the coast. From here, the landscape seems endless, a mosaic of cliffs, hidden beaches, and sparkling bays. Far in the distance, tiny islands float like jewels scattered across the blue expanse. The locals call them the sleeping gods, because at dawn, their silhouettes resemble ancient deities resting beneath the rising sun. You can almost believe it. In a world of glass towers and neon lights, this place feels untouched, like stepping into a dream that refuses to fade. A narrow path leads down to one of these secret beaches. The descent is steep, carved into the rock centuries ago by shepherds and fishermen. You move carefully, each step echoing with the crunch of stone beneath your feet. At the bottom, you find it a small bay hidden between two towering cliffs. The sand is white, almost silver, and the water glows like liquid crystal. You take a step into the shallows, and the cool waves wash over your ankles. The sound of the sea surrounds you, soft, rhythmic, hypnotic. A fisherman approaches, his weathered hands carrying a basket of shells and sea glass. He tells you that this beach has no name. It changes every day, he says with a smile. The sea takes and gives as she wishes. You can see what he means, the shoreline constantly reshaped by the tides, every wave rewriting the story written in the sand. It's a reminder of how fragile and beautiful this world is, how nothing truly belongs to us, and yet everything invites us to belong to it. As the day unfolds, you travel farther along the coast, where the cliffs give way to green valleys and sleepy seaside villages. Each one feels like a postcard, whitewashed homes, blue shutters, and fishing boats painted in colors that seem to glow under the sun. In one of these villages, you stop for lunch: freshly grilled octopus, olive oil that tastes like sunlight, and bread still warm from the oven. A group of locals play music nearby, a bouzouki, a tambourine, voices rising in harmony. The melody carries across the water, blending with the sound of the waves. It's not a performance, it's a way of life. Later, you climb to a hilltop overlooking the sea. Just as the sun begins to fall, the light softens, painting everything in shades of amber and rose. The wind carries the scent of the sea mixed with wild herbs. In this moment, you feel suspended between worlds, between past and present, land and sea, dream and reality. The beauty here doesn't shout, it whispers. It invites you to slow down, to listen, to breathe. As dusk deepens, the coastline glows like fire. The cliffs turn gold, then crimson, then fade into violet shadows. Villages light up one by one, lanterns flickering like stars fallen to earth. The sea mirrors the sky until you can no longer tell where one ends and the other begins. The air cools, but it feels alive, carrying with it a sense of peace that can only be found in places untouched by hurry or noise. You realize that the coastline of Greece isn't just geography, it's poetry in motion. Every wave that hits the rocks tells a story of creation and rebirth. Every gust of wind carries whispers of ancient sailors who once navigated these same waters under starlit skies. Every grain of sand has been part of 1,000 sunsets, 1,000 dreams. And as you sit there, watching the last light vanish beneath the horizon, you understand something profound. Beauty like this doesn't need to be discovered. It only needs to be remembered. It has always been here, waiting patiently for those who slow down long enough to see it. When night finally falls, the stars emerge in quiet brilliance, reflecting off the calm sea like a mirror of infinity. You breathe deeply, feeling the world expand and contract around you, as if time itself pauses to admire the view. The waves continue their eternal rhythm, a heartbeat older than history, a promise that some wonders will never fade. Because here, along Greece's endless coast, beauty isn't something you chase. It's something you become part of. Immerse the audience in Greek cuisine, grilled seafood, olive oil dripping over bread, local wine under sunset light. Describe the experience of dining by the sea, surrounded by the scent of oregano and salt air. Let viewers feel like they're there, tasting, hearing laughter, and the music of plates clinking as night falls. The ferry slices through the sapphire waters like a blade of light, leaving a shimmering trail behind as you drift deeper into the heart of the Aegean. The air is warm, perfumed with salt and sun, and the sound of gulls echoes across the open sea. Ahead, the islands rise from the horizon like scattered gems, white, gold, and volcanic black, each one carrying its own rhythm, its own mythology. These are not just islands. They are floating dreams, where history, legend, and beauty merge into something eternal. Welcome to the islands of Greece, the soul of the Mediterranean. As you approach Santorini, the view feels almost unreal. Whitewashed villages cling to the cliffs like pearls, cascading down to the deep blue caldera below. The sunlight reflects off every wall, every dome, turning the entire island into a canvas of brilliance. It's as if the gods themselves sculpted this place to remind mortals of perfection. The closer you get, the more hypnotic it becomes. The narrow alleys winding between cobalt rooftops, the scent of bougainvillea hanging in the air, and the distant echo of church bells mingling with the sound of waves crashing far below. You wander through Oya, where time slows to the rhythm of footsteps on cobblestones. Every corner hides a postcard moment, a terrace overlooking the sea, a cat lounging in the shade, a glimpse of the endless horizon through an arched doorway. The island hums with quiet life. Artists painting by the light of the afternoon sun, fishermen mending their nets, travelers pausing just to breathe it all in. And then, as evening falls, it happens the Santorini sunset, that legendary blaze of color that has drawn dreamers from across the world. The sky turns gold, then crimson, then fades into violet as the sea catches fire beneath it. For a few moments, everything stands still. No words, no movement, just awe. From Santorini, your journey drifts north to Mykonos, the island of light, laughter, and endless energy. The contrast is instant. Here, the air vibrates with sound waves crashing against the windmills, music spilling from seaside tavernas, and the chatter of people dancing with the moment. The white houses gleam under the sun, their blue doors opening to reveal hidden courtyards bursting with color. You lose yourself in the labyrinth of Mykonos town, a maze of alleys that seem designed to make you wander forever. Around every corner, another surprise, a local baker handing out warm pastries, a gallery filled with modern art, a glimpse of the sea framed perfectly between two walls. But Mykonos has more than just its famous nightlife. As the crowds fade with the sunrise, the island reveals its quiet heart. You drive inland, where windmills stand against the golden hills, and chapels gleam like scattered stars. A farmer waves from his field, the sound of goats' bells drifting in the breeze. The simplicity here is disarming. It reminds you that even the most glamorous places in the world are rooted in something humble and timeless. Next, you sail east to Naxos, the largest of the Cyclades, and perhaps the most complete expression of Greek island life. It's where ancient ruins rise beside olive groves, and marble shines beneath the sun like frozen fire. The Portara, a massive stone doorway that once belonged to a temple of Apollo, stands alone on a rocky islet. As you walk toward it, the wind swirls around you, and the waves crash against the rocks below. It feels like stepping through time itself, a threshold between the human and the divine. When the sun sets behind it, the doorway glows, framing the dying light like a portal to eternity. Beyond the monuments, Naxos offers a quieter magic. You pass through mountain villages where old women sit weaving baskets, where laughter spills from tavernas serving homemade wine and grilled lamb. The scent of rosemary and lemon fills the air. You find a small cafe overlooking the valley. The owner insists you try their local cheese, made from goats that graze just beyond the fence. It's rich, sharp, unforgettable. As you eat, he tells you stories of gods and heroes who once roamed these lands. His voice blends with the wind, and for a moment, the myth feels real. Farther still, you reach Paros, an island that seems to exist in perfect balance. It's quieter than Mykonos, yet more alive than Naxos. Its beaches stretch for miles, golden sand melting into turquoise water, while its villages shimmer with elegance and ease. In Naousa, you wander along the harbor where boats bob gently in the sunlight, their reflections dancing like brushstrokes on the water. Couples sip coffee beside the sea, children play on the docks, and a musician's soft song drifts through the air. Everything feels connected: the sea, the people, the moment. You take one last ferry before nightfall, this time to a smaller island, one without fame or crowds. The boat arrives at twilight, and you step onto a dock lit only by lanterns. The village is silent, except for the hum of cicadas and the distant laughter from a taverna. You sit at the edge of the water, your feet touching the waves. There's no rush, no noise, no distraction, only the sound of life breathing gently around you. You realize that this is what Greece truly offers. Not just beauty, but peace. A reminder that the world can still be simple, that time can still slow down, that wonder doesn't always announce itself sometimes. It just waits for you to look. As you gaze into the night, the sea turns black, reflecting a sky full of stars. Somewhere far away, the waves lap against the same shores where Odysseus once sailed, where poets once sang to the gods, where countless souls have fallen in love with this land. The islands whisper to each other across the water, their lights flickering like constellations on the sea. And in that silence, you understand something eternal. Greece isn't just a place you visit. It's a feeling you carry, a memory of light, of sea, of stillness, a reminder that paradise is real and it's closer than you think. Introduce the myths and stories rooted in this place. Maybe a legend about a sea goddess, a lost city beneath the waves, or an ancient hero. Blend real history with folklore ruins on a hilltop, a temple half buried in time. The whispers of a past civilization that once stood here. Add a mystical, cinematic tone that bridges myth and reality. The sea fades behind you as the road climbs higher into the heart of Greece. The air cools, the scent of salt gives way to pine and earth, and the landscape transforms into a wild tapestry of mountains and valleys that seem untouched by time. The cliffs rise like ancient walls, crowned with forests that whisper in the wind. You realize something extraordinary beyond the postcard-perfect islands and golden coastlines lies another Greece, raw and spiritual. A land where myth still lingers in the mist. This is where you begin to see the country, not as a destination, but as a living soul. The journey takes you deep into the mainland, toward the Pindus Mountains, often called the spine of Greece. The road winds like a silver ribbon through gorges and over stone bridges built centuries ago by shepherds and monks. You pass through villages that cling to the cliffs, their red-tiled roofs glowing under the afternoon sun. Here, time moves differently. There are no crowds, no rush, only the sound of distant bells and the murmur of streams weaving through the rocks. Every turn reveals a view more breathtaking than the last. And you begin to understand why the ancients believed gods once walked these hills. At last, you reach Metsovo, a mountain village carved into the slopes, wrapped in clouds and tradition. Wooden chalets line the cobblestone streets, and smoke drifts lazily from chimneys as the smell of grilled meat and spiced wine fills the air. You step into a small taverna, where locals gather around a roaring fire. An old man plays a clarinet, the haunting notes echoing through the room. A woman serves you homemade cheese, sharp, salty, aged in the caves below the village. Each bite feels like tasting the land itself. As night falls, snow begins to fall gently outside, turning the rooftops white. You look out the window and feel it, that perfect blend of warmth and wonder that only places like this can give. The next morning, the mist clears, revealing the towering cliffs of Meteora in the distance. The name means suspended in air, and it's easy to see why. Massive rock pillars rise straight from the valley floor, like the fingers of the earth reaching for heaven. At their peaks, ancient monasteries cling to the stone miracles of architecture and faith. Built by monks hundreds of years ago, they seem impossible, almost otherworldly. You climb the narrow steps carved into the rock, each one echoing with centuries of devotion. When you reach the top, the world opens around you, valleys stretching into infinity, sunlight breaking through the clouds, the wind whispering prayers carried by time. Inside one monastery, you meet a monk with kind eyes and a calm smile. He speaks softly, his voice steady and slow, as if each word is chosen with care. People come here, he says, to see what man built, but what they really find is what man forgot. His words linger as you gaze out at the horizon, endless sky, endless silence. It feels like the edge of the world, a place where thought dissolves and the heart simply feels. From Meteora, you journey north towards Zagori, a hidden region of stone villages connected by ancient bridges and mountain trails. The Vikos Gorge cuts through the landscape, one of the deepest in the world. Standing at its edge, you feel small, not in a way that frightens, but in a way that humbles. The wind carries the scent of rain, and far below, the river glistens like a thread of silver. You walk down into the gorge, following paths lined with wild herbs and forgotten ruins. Every sound, the rustle of leaves, the splash of water, the call of distant birds feels magnified, sacred. At the bottom, you find a stream so clear you can see every pebble beneath the surface. You drink from it, and the water tastes pure, ancient, alive. For a moment, you close your eyes and imagine what this place looked like thousands of years ago, before roads, before maps, before even memory. It probably looked exactly the same. Greece has a way of keeping its essence untouched, no matter how much the world around it changes. As evening approaches, you arrive at a guest house in one of the Zagori villages. The owner greets you with a smile, his hands rough from a lifetime of work. He lights a fire and pours you a glass of sipuro, a clear, strong spirit that burns with warmth. As you sit together, he tells you stories passed down through generations, tales of heroes who fought the mountains, spirits that guarded rivers, and travelers who came here seeking truth. You realize these aren't just stories. They're the heartbeat of the land. Outside, night falls softly. The sky fills with stars so bright they seem close enough to touch. The silence is deep, almost tangible. You sit by the firelight, feeling the kind of stillness that modern life rarely allows, the kind that lets your thoughts slow down until they dissolve into peace. The next morning, you wake to sunlight filtering through the trees. The mountains stand tall around you, their peaks glowing gold. As you prepare to leave, you take one last look at the landscape, vast, unspoiled, timeless. It feels as though the world has paused just long enough for you to remember what it means to be alive. Traveling through Greece's mountains isn't about seeing new places. It's about rediscovering something ancient, not out there, but within yourself. Something quiet, something real. These highlands, with their rivers and cliffs, their legends and silences, remind you that beauty isn't only found in grand vistas or ancient ruins. Sometimes, it's in the echo of your own footsteps on an empty path. And as you drive down the winding road, the last rays of sunlight following you toward the valley, you carry with you a new understanding. That Greece's greatest wonder isn't just in its temples or its seas. It's in its stillness and in the way it teaches you to listen. Shift to evening. Lanterns reflecting off the water, gentle music spilling from tavernas, and the laughter of travelers mixing with locals. Capture the town's spirit after dark, where every light feels like a heartbeat, and every song like an echo of the sea. Bring emotional warmth and beauty, like a dream sequence unfolding in real life. The sun rises over the Aegean in soft gold, spilling light across the marble stones of history. You stand before the Acropolis, and for a moment, time stands still. The columns of the Parthenon glow against the morning sky, silent, eternal, magnificent. It's as if the gods themselves carved this place out of light. The wind moves gently through the ruins, whispering names that once echoed across the world. Athena, Zeus, Apollo. You realize you're not just walking through Athens. You're walking through the very heartbeat of civilization. The air hums with life. Below the Acropolis, the city awakens the scent of coffee, the laughter of street vendors, the chatter of morning markets. Athens is a city where ancient and modern blend seamlessly. You stroll through Plaka, where narrow alleys twist between whitewashed walls and blooming bougainvillea. Cats nap on sunlit steps, and the sound of distant bouzouki music drifts through the air. In one corner, an artist paints the Parthenon from memory, his strokes gentle and knowing. In another, an old man plays chess with himself, smiling at every move. You stop for a moment in a small cafe tucked beneath the shadow of the Acropolis. The owner, a woman with kind eyes and hands dusted in flour, serves you a plate of warm spanakopita and a cup of strong Greek coffee. As you sip, she tells you, "We live with history here. It breathes with us. You cannot escape it, and you wouldn't want to." You look around and understand exactly what she means. The stones of the city carry memory not in museums or books, but in the rhythm of everyday life. Later, you climb again, higher into the ruins. The view from the top is endless, the city stretching toward the sea, the mountains standing guard beyond. You imagine philosophers walking here centuries ago, debating life and truth beneath the same sun. You can almost hear Socrates' voice carried on the wind, still asking questions that echo through time. Standing here, you don't feel like a visitor. You feel like a participant, part of the same story that began thousands of years ago. From Athens, you travel northwest, leaving behind the pulse of the capital for something more mysterious, the sacred valley of Delphi. The road winds through olive groves and rugged hills until you reach the slopes of Mount Parnassus, where the air feels different, charged with something ancient. The ruins of the Temple of Apollo rise before you, bathed in golden light. Stones crumble, columns lean, yet the place feels alive, as if still waiting for those who seek answers. You walk among the ruins, the gravel crunching softly beneath your feet. Here, pilgrims once came from every corner of the ancient world to hear the oracle's words, cryptic, powerful, shaping empires and destinies. The priestess of Apollo, known as the Pythia, would inhale the vapors from the earth and speak prophecies said to come directly from the god himself. You imagine her seated above the chasm, her eyes distant, her voice trembling as she revealed truths that kings feared and revered. You stand at the edge of the sanctuary, the valley spread below like an ocean of silver-green olive trees. The wind moves through the stones, and you swear it still carries whispers of those long-ago questions. Who am I? What is my purpose? The same questions that bring travelers here today, not for prophecy, but for perspective. Delphi, even in ruins, remains a place of revelation. It reminds you that wisdom isn't found in answers, it's found in the courage to ask. As you descend the mountain, you pass the ancient theater, carved perfectly into the slope. From the top row, you can see the temple and the valley beyond, as if the gods themselves reserved the best seat. You imagine performances here centuries ago, music, poetry, laughter rising into the sky. The sound would have carried for miles, merging with the hum of cicadas and the rustle of leaves. Even now, standing in silence, you can almost hear it, the music of eternity. The road leads next to the small modern village nearby, where time moves slowly. You meet a local man who sells honey and herbs from his garden. He points toward the mountains and says, "These lands never forget. They keep what matters." You taste his honey, thick, golden, infused with time and sunlight, and realize he's right. Greece holds memory not as a weight, but as a song that never stops playing. Later, as the day fades into dusk, you return to Athens one last time. The city glows beneath the twilight, its lights flickering like stars fallen to earth. You walk through the streets, past ancient ruins lit by soft golden lamps. The Parthenon gleams on the hilltop, watching over everything like an ageless guardian. The hum of the city rises, footsteps, laughter, the clink of glasses, history and life moving together, side by side. You find yourself at a rooftop terrace overlooking the city. The air is warm, filled with the scent of grilled souvlaki and blooming jasmine. You raise a glass of wine, deep red, smooth, born from Greek soil, and watch as the moon rises above the Acropolis. In that moment, you understand what makes this place eternal. It's not just the temples or the myths, it's the spirit, the unbroken thread of humanity, passion, and beauty that runs through every stone and every heart. Greece doesn't ask you to look at history. It asks you to feel it, to walk where gods were born, where thinkers changed the world, and where the meaning of home became something more than a place. It became an idea. And as you sit there beneath the stars, the city alive beneath your feet, you realize that every traveler who's ever come to Greece leaves with the same quiet thought that maybe, just maybe, part of them has always belonged here. Showcase sweeping drone views, cliffs plunging into blue, sailboats crossing sunlit waves. Narrate the vastness of Greece's natural beauty, how this one colorful town is just a thread in the greater tapestry of the Aegean. Touch on nearby islands or hidden spots connected by history and water, reinforcing the sense of infinite exploration. The sea stretches before you in endless blue, deep, powerful, and alive. As your ferry cuts across the Aegean, you realize you're leaving the world of marble and myth for something raw and timeless, the island of Crete. The wind whips through your hair, carrying the scent of salt and pine. Behind you fades the mainland. Ahead lies the birthplace of legends, a land of kings and labyrinths, where ancient myths meet wild, untamed beauty. Crete isn't just an island. It's a world unto itself. As the ferry docks at Heraklion, you're greeted by a coastline washed in golden light. The waves crash against stone walls built by Venetians centuries ago. In the distance, olive groves stretch into the horizon, their silver leaves shimmering under the sun. Crete feels different from the rest of Greece, rougher, prouder, as if it has lived 1,000 lives and carries the memory of them all. You can feel that history in the air, in every glance of the people, in every stone beneath your feet. You make your way to the Palace of Knossos, the heart of Minoan civilization, the oldest in Europe. As you step into the ruins, the myths come alive. This is where King Minos ruled, where the Minotaur was said to dwell deep within the labyrinth, and where Theseus, guided by Ariadne's thread, found his way out of darkness. The frescoes on the walls still glow faintly, with color bowls leaping through air, dancers frozen mid-motion, symbols of life and ritual. The columns are painted red and black, rising like silent sentinels over a civilization that vanished long ago. Walking through Knossos feels like walking through memory. You touch the stones, warm under the sun, and imagine the sounds, the footsteps of priests, the laughter of courtiers, the distant echo of drums. The myths no longer feel like stories. They feel like history carved into the island itself. Crete doesn't just tell its tales, it breathes them. From Heraklion, the road leads south, winding through rugged mountains toward Matala, a coastal village famous for its sandstone cliffs and sea caves. Once a haven for ancient fishermen, later a refuge for hippies in the 1960 seconds, Matala feels like a place out of time. You walk along the shore, where turquoise water laps at golden sand. The caves above, once carved by the sea, are dotted with openings that look like windows to another world. Inside, you find carvings, candles, and words left by travelers decades ago, dreams written in stone. As the sun dips low, the cliffs blaze orange and red. You sit by the shore and listen to the rhythm of waves against rock. Locals gather nearby with guitars and laughter, their voices mingling with the evening wind. Someone offers you raki, the island's fiery spirit, and you drink, feeling its warmth spread through you. To Crete, they say, and you raise your glass. To life, to history, to the wild soul of this island that refuses to be tamed. The next day, you drive west toward Rethymno, a town that feels like a living mosaic of cultures. Venetian fortresses stand beside Turkish minarets. Cobblestone alleys twist through flower-covered balconies. Cats bask in patches of sunlight. The air smells of jasmine, honey, and freshly baked bread. You stop at a small bakery run by an old couple, and they hand you warm bugatsa layers of pastry filled with sweet cheese and sprinkled with sugar. Everything is sweeter with patience, the man says with a wink. You take a bite and understand it tastes like tradition, passed down through generations. Farther along the coast lies Chania, one of the most beautiful towns in all of Greece. Its harbor glimmers like a painting, lined with pastel buildings reflecting in the calm water. Fishing boats sway gently, their ropes creaking softly. The Venetian lighthouse at the harbor's mouth stands tall, watching over centuries of travelers. You walk along the promenade, where artists display their work, sea landscapes, portraits, scenes from memory. Every corner of Chania feels cinematic, as if time slowed down just to let you see its beauty. In the old quarter, you lose yourself among narrow alleys and colorful doors. Blue, yellow, and pink houses lean close together, and the scent of grilled octopus drifts from a nearby tavern. Music spills out from an open window, a Cretan lyra playing a melody that feels both joyful and melancholic. You stop at a small cafe where a young musician sings about love, mountains, and the sea. His voice carries something eternal, something deeply Cretan, proud, poetic, and unbroken. You spend your final day in Crete hiking through the Samaria Gorge, one of the longest in Europe. The path cuts through towering cliffs where eagles soar overhead and wild goats leap effortlessly between rocks. The air is cool and crisp, filled with the scent of pine and thyme. Every step echoes through the gorge, reminding you how small you are against nature's grandeur. As you reach the end, the trail opens to the Libyan Sea, vast, blue, infinite. You collapse on the sand, exhausted yet alive, watching the sunlight shimmer on the waves. That night, under a sky full of stars, you think back to everything you've seen. The myths, the mountains, the music, all of it feels woven together into one eternal story. Crete isn't just a place to visit. It's a place to feel, to live, to remember that life, like the sea, is vast and wild, and the only way to truly know it is to dive in without fear. As the waves whisper against the shore, you finally understand the heart of Greece. It's not just history written in stone. It's the unbroken rhythm of life that continues to sing, even when the world grows quiet. And here, in Crete's golden glow, that song feels endless. Tell the human story portraits of locals who embody the soul of this place. The fisherman who sailed for 40 years, the grandmother baking bread in a stone oven, the young painter who captures the town's light and color. These stories bring emotion, grounding the beauty in humanity. Remind viewers that places live because of people. The sun rises over the Aegean, turning the horizon into a canvas of gold, pink, and sapphire. The sea glows with liquid light, and in the distance, the white silhouettes of islands begin to emerge like scattered pearls across an endless ocean. As your ferry sails closer, the air becomes warmer, sweeter, filled with the scent of salt and wild herbs. You're approaching the Cyclades, Greece's crown jewels, a constellation of islands where time slows, colors intensify, and life feels impossibly beautiful. These are the islands that live in postcards and dreams, but to see them in person is something no camera could ever capture. The first glimpse of Santorini takes your breath away. The island rises sharply from the sea, a crescent of volcanic rock cradling a deep blue caldera. Whitewashed houses cling to cliffs, their blue domes shimmering beneath the sun like drops of sky fallen to earth. You step off the ferry and climb toward Oia, where narrow cobbled paths twist through terraces of bougainvillea and stone. The sound of the sea fades behind you, replaced by the gentle hum of island life, church bells, laughter, and the faint clink of wine glasses carried by the wind. As evening falls, you join a crowd gathered on the cliffs, all waiting for the same moment, the Santorini sunset. The sky transforms into a living painting, streaks of orange, violet, and crimson spill across the horizon, reflecting in the sea like fire. The crowd falls silent as the sun dips lower, and for a few perfect seconds, time stops. When the last sliver of light disappears, applause breaks out, spontaneous and full of wonder, as if the island itself performed a miracle. But Santorini isn't just about beauty, it's about resilience. This island was born from fire, shaped by volcanic eruptions that destroyed and rebuilt it across millennia. Every layer of its cliffs tells a story of creation and renewal. You wander through the ancient ruins of Akrotiri, a Minoan city buried under volcanic ash 3,500 years ago, astonishingly preserved. Streets, walls, and frescoes still whisper of a time when Santorini, then called Thera, was a thriving center of art and trade. Standing there, you realize how fragile and enduring life can be, all at once. From Santorini, your journey leads north to Mykonos, the island of light, rhythm, and freedom. As your boat nears the harbor, white cube-shaped houses gleam. Under the sun, their doors painted in blues, reds, and greens. The famous windmills of Mykonos stand proudly above the town, their blades turning lazily in the breeze. The island hums with energy, a place where music never sleeps and joy never ends. You wander through the labyrinthine streets of Kora, the main town, where every corner hides a surprise, an art gallery, a hidden cafe, a cat basking in the sun. In the old harbor, fishermen untangle their nets beside sleek yachts. The scent of grilled seafood drifts through the air, mingling with laughter and music. As the sun sets, the island transforms. Lights flicker on one by one, and Mykonos begins to dance. The night pulses with energy, beach bars glow, waves shimmer under moonlight, and strangers become friends in an instant. But away from the crowds, Mykonos has another side, quiet, serene, and timeless. The small church of Panagia Paraportiani stands at the edge of the sea, its white walls glowing like marble under the stars. Waves crash gently against its base as you stand in silence, feeling the cool night wind brush your skin. It's moments like this when the world slows down and the sea whispers secrets that make Mykonos more than a destination. It becomes a feeling. A short ferry ride brings you to Naxos, the largest and perhaps most underrated of the Cyclades. Unlike the glitz of Mykonos or the drama of Santorini, Naxos feels grounded, authentic, earthy, full of heart. The island rises in rolling hills and fertile valleys, dotted with ancient temples and stone villages. Here, time flows differently. Farmers still lead donkeys along narrow mountain paths. Women bake bread in outdoor ovens. The rhythm of life is slow, unhurried, and deeply human. You visit the Portara, a massive marble doorway standing alone on a small islet near Naxos town. Built over 2,500 years ago, it was meant to be the entrance to a temple that was never completed. Now, it frames the sea and sky like a portal to another world. As you stand before it at sunset, the doorway glows with light, and the waves crash below like applause from the gods. It's a reminder that beauty doesn't always come from perfection. Sometimes it lies in what remains unfinished, eternal in its incompleteness. Traveling deeper inland, you discover villages like Halki and Aparanthos, where stone houses climb the hillsides and locals greet you with a nod and a smile. You sit in a small taverna under a vine-covered terrace, sipping homemade citron liqueur as the air fills with the sound of traditional music. A group of old men plays the bouzouki, singing songs that have echoed through generations. You don't understand every word, but you feel every note. The laughter, the longing, the life that pulses through it all. By nightfall, as you gaze out over the sea, you realize something extraordinary. Each of these islands, Santorini, Mykonos, Naxos, is a different world. Yet together they form a single heartbeat. The Cyclades are not just islands. They're emotions carved into the sea, fragments of paradise that remind us of everything wild, pure, and sacred in the world. The ferry leaves the harbor, cutting through moonlit waves. You watch as the lights of the islands fade one by one, glowing faintly in the distance like stars scattered across the Aegean. The wind carries the scent of salt and freedom. Somewhere behind you, music drifts over the water, soft, distant, eternal. And as the night embraces the sea, you realize the Cyclades aren't a place you visit. They're a place you feel. And once you've felt them, they never truly let you go. And with emotion, sunrise reflecting off the painted houses, waves lapping against the docks. A farewell that feels like leaving a dream. Reflect on what this journey teaches. Beauty isn't just in places, but in the way they make us feel. End with a cinematic fade out, the camera pulling away as the town glows in morning light, leaving viewers longing to see it for themselves. The morning sun spills over the Peloponnese, painting the rugged mountains and golden plains with light that feels almost sacred. After weeks tracing the arc of Greece from its mainland to the Cyclades, you arrive in this land of myths, warriors, and legends. The Peloponnese is where history and nature collide, Olive groves stretch to the horizon. Medieval fortresses crown the hills, and turquoise waters lap at deserted beaches. Every step here carries a story older than memory itself, waiting for those willing to listen. Your first stop is ancient Olympia, the birthplace of the Olympic Games. Walking among the ruins, you imagine athletes racing across these grounds more than 2 millennia ago, their feet pounding the earth in pursuit of glory. The columns of temples lean with age, yet they radiate a quiet power, whispering secrets of gods, kings, and mortals who once walked these paths. You stand before the Temple of Zeus, envisioning the colossal statue that once resided inside, a marvel of artistry and devotion. In the silence, you can almost hear the cheers of the crowd, carried across centuries, echoing through time. From Olympia, you drive south toward the Mani Peninsula, a land of jagged cliffs, stone towers, and villages that cling to the coastline like ancient guardians. The road winds through mountains dotted with wildflowers, and the air carries the scent of sea and time. Each village you pass seems frozen in time. Whitewashed houses, narrow alleys, and locals going about daily life as if the world beyond these cliffs does not exist. At night, the horizon glows with lanterns, and you understand why this region was once considered untouchable, a fortress of both nature and spirit. The journey continues to Mycenae, where the Lion Gate stands as a sentinel to a civilization that shaped Western history. Walking through the ancient citadel, you feel the weight of kings and warriors whose names echo through epics. The Tholos tombs, monumental stone beehives rise like echoes of eternity. You place your hand on the weathered stone, feeling the chill of centuries, and imagine the lives that unfolded here. Feasts, battles, prayers, and the unyielding ambition of those who once ruled the land. History is tangible here, not confined to books, but alive under your fingertips. Next, you travel to Nafplio, a coastal town that blends Venetian elegance with Greek charm. Its harbor glimmers under the afternoon sun, while the Bortzi fortress floats gracefully on a small islet offshore. Cobblestone streets wind between cafes and boutiques, their terraces draped in vibrant bougainvillea. You sip coffee by the water, listening to the gentle lap of waves against the docks. The town exudes romance, yet beneath its beauty lies a quiet resilience, a reminder that Greece's charm is always intertwined with its endurance. Heading west, you explore the Epidaurus Theater, celebrated for its remarkable acoustics. Standing on the stage, you whisper a single word, and it carries effortlessly to the very top rows. The theater, over 2,000 years old, is a testament to human ingenuity and the pursuit of perfection. You close your eyes and imagine performances of ancient tragedies and comedies, actors adorned in masks, audiences enraptured, stories of love, loss, and heroism unfolding under the same sun. The air itself seems to hold memory, vibrating with the echoes of laughter and tears long past. Your journey leads next to the Meteora once more, not for sightseeing, but to witness the ethereal beauty of dawn. As the first light touches the monasteries perched on cliffs, a hush falls over the valley. The mountains and stones glow soft, pink and gold, and the air feels almost sacred. You walk along the trails, listening to birds, wind, and the distant toll of a bell. Here, Greece reminds you that its magic is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet, still, and infinite, waiting for those who are present enough to feel it. Finally, you return to Athens, the city that bridges the past and present. The streets pulse with life, scooters weaving through traffic, markets brimming with spices and textiles, and street performers filling plazas with music. You climb to a rooftop overlooking the Acropolis one last time, the Parthenon glowing beneath the setting sun. The city spreads beneath you, a tapestry of history, culture, and humanity intertwined. The sea glimmers in the distance, the mountains rise beyond, and the wind carries stories of gods, heroes, and travelers who have walked this land for millennia. As night falls, the city lights sparkle like a mirror to the stars above. You sit in a small taverna, listening to the soft strumming of a bouzouki, tasting the flavors of Greece in every bite, and reflecting on the journey. From the mountains of the north to the volcanic cliffs of Santorini, from the wild gorges of Crete to the ancient ruins of the Peloponnese, Greece has revealed itself in layers, a land where every corner, every stone, every melody carries the heartbeat of history. Greece has shown you beauty and myth, sun and sea, resilience and soul. It has reminded you of humanity's capacity for creation, endurance, and wonder. As you step into the night, you feel changed, more alive, more present, more connected. The country has not just been a destination, but a mirror reflecting the eternal dance of history, nature, and spirit. And as you look out over the twinkling lights of Athens, with the faint sound of the waves in the distance, you realize that Greece's greatest gift is not its islands, temples, or myths. The music, the landscapes, they are not just part of history, they are part of us, whispering that the world is larger, wilder, and more beautiful than we ever imagined. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Until the next adventure, may your heart always wander, and may your eyes always see the beauty that waits in every corner of this world. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed exploring Prague as much as I enjoyed guiding you through it. If you found this travel guide helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more beautiful destinations from around the world. Got a favorite spot in Prague? Drop it in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, safe travels, and see you in the next video.